Hey, how you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday, and of course, another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Hope everybody's doing okay. I do notice as I look out at my door here in my studio that it's dark already. It's 6 o'clock. What happened? I guess daylight savings time and it's gone, or spring forward, fall back, whatever it is. But it feels much later than it is. Anyway, enough of that. A reminder, Connection Open works great. I've been using it with some of my students, recording uh, uh, their demos, and it's just been fantastic. So you might want to check it out. And if you do, and you want that 14-day free trial, and you want to try it out with me, I'll be happy to try it out with you. Also, I was on with a student today, and she was reading off of her cell phone. And she was having problems being natural because she was spending so much brain power and eye power trying to see what the word said. Stop reading off of your cell phones. As a matter of fact, stop reading off of paper. Get yourself a screen. You can blow it up and make it bigger. You can copy things and situate them the way you want to. You can make the font as big as you want. You can make it bold. You can highlight it. Make it as easy as you can on yourself. The whole idea in VoiceOver is to translate the written word into the spoken word, and we don't need to put up obstacles to our doing that. Well, that will be my one little rant today before I introduce my guest. Celia Siegel, hello there. How are? Oh, wait a minute. I guess I needed to assign you, huh? Okay, let's assign you. You are guest number one, and there you are.
Hello, Dave Fennoy.
Hello, Celia Siegel. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Well,
Thanks for
excellent.
having me on.
Well, thanks for being on because I know you're a busy lady, and because you are a voiceover manager, and I think you're one of the few who really gets into how we're going to move your career forward, branding, all those things, which leads me. Well, how did you get started in this biz? I know you were an agent. How did that happen?
Well, I was a recent college grad in the late 80s, and I took a job at a talent agency. I moved to Minneapolis.
Twin
Um,
Cities. I went to
on my
school there for a
way,
while.
I know we talked about that when we were
That's
in
right.
France.
That's right.
Yes, we
Yes.
have we have three cities in common. We're both San Franciscan, Minnesotan, Los Angelinos.
Wow. There you go. Wow.
Yes. so I knew I wanted to live in LA and be in the business, and I wanted to get some job experience before moving there.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a job at the Susan Wayman Agency as a receptionist. And on day one, I watched the voiceover talent agents and I was sold. I was like, that's it. I loved the business and voiceover as a genre and just the creativity, not stopped by the way we look or it's just all talent and entrepreneurship. So I've been in the business as an agent turned manager ever since,
And
happily.
it's interesting what you said there, talent and entrepreneurship, because although I think everybody that gets into the business, the idea is, hey, I want to make a living doing this. Um, I don't think until in the last 10, 15 years or so, if that much time, did we start
Mhm.
thinking of ourselves in voiceover as business owners, as entrepreneurs. I still, I know I'm in business, but I still think of myself more as artist than entrepreneur,
Mhm.
despite the fact that, I promote myself and do the things that you need to do to bring in business. So I feel like you're one of the first people to really start looking at voice actors and tell them that, hey, you're not just a voice actor, you're a business. You've got to
Mhm.
handle yourself like a business. When did you start talking to voice actors about that?
Right from the get go, I was always like, what do you want to do? Let's do it. Um, because you have the power. So immediately, in my early years as an agent, I was like, who do you want to work for? What do you want to do? I started branding my talent in the very early days, writing taglines, writing why they were different than everybody else in the world. And then as the agent or the manager, like, well, who cares about that? So being that bridge. So I'm kind of a natural matchmaker, cheerleader. I like to see the uniqueness in everybody and then just shout it out. So I just think it's my wiring. I mean, even
Yeah.
when I was in high school, I liked to fill the seats of the theater, even though I was never a talent myself. I loved hanging out with the talent and helping them with
You like
promotions.
being talent adjacent.
Exactly. I could never do what you guys do, ever, ever. You're so brave.
Well, you know what? And uh, in many ways, that's the way I feel about handling the business and the branding and all of those things. And let's talk a little bit about branding. It's kind of calmed down now, but just a few years ago, it seemed to me like every other word out of everybody's mouth was branding. Well, you got to brand this, got to brand that. Um, and I think by that time, I already was a brand without thinking about myself as a brand.
Yes.
Um, but if you're just getting started and you haven't done much work, if any work, how do you come up with your brand? How do you find who you are?
hmm You know, branding is so important. We are in such a popular business that the thing is, we already are a brand, all of us. So, what I do is help people match up what people are already feeling and thinking and saying about them with what they're most passionate about, what they're the best in the world at, or working on being the best in the world at. And then, okay, but is that relevant to somebody? So it's those three things. It's who you are, why you're unique, and then who cares about that? And there's always a story.
Who you
Actors are
are,
so
why you're unique, and who cares about that?
who cares about that? That's your clients. That's your ideal customer, and they are a full third of your brand. Is you need to know exactly who you want to buy you.
That's interesting because I think most of us get in the business and we want to do a certain thing that may or may not happen for us. In so many ways, the business chooses what we
Mhm.
do. And it sounds to me, my way of looking at what you're telling me is well, since the business is going to choose, let's look at you and find out what it is about you and maybe target that first as opposed to waiting to discover that that's what they want from you, that the business
Yeah.
sees you differently than you see yourself.
Yes. So that idea of passion and doing the thing you're most passionate about. If you want to be a singer and you can't carry a tune, but it's your passion, like who cares?
So you've
So,
seen early episodes of American Idol.
yes. So it's that sweet spot of what you're really, really good at. And there's so many talented, amazing people in this vast field. So you've got to pair up what you're amazing at, or you're going to be number two, number three, number five if you're lucky. And branding helps you be that number one. We've got to hook up and get in front of that person and make an impression on the person that can actually hire you.
What's the oddest brand you've worked with? You don't have to mention a name, just what was the brand like?
Oh gosh, there have been so many. I've been doing this for so long, and some of the people that work with me have been here the whole time. So sometimes we're like, remember in 2006 when we spent the summer branding this person? Um, we did a brand once that related the guy to Viagra, and we made a Viagra joke. It was a really long time ago. I can't remember the tagline off the top of my head, but it was pretty edgy. Um,
Yeah, and And as a guy, I don't think you want to be the guy that's associated with Viagra.
I know. I have like all women on the team. We thought it was hilarious, but maybe that was a misfire.
And then you could be the guy that you feel like they're laughing at you.
Yeah. We want them to laugh
With
with.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're very fragile, we men. We're very fragile. So
But most of the time, the brands we do, I would say, I'm just mirroring back you. So I'm not making anything up. So that's the magic is I'm just packaging up what you're telling me. So if you look at the brands we work on, it's about like feelings and confidence. If you guys have no confidence, you have no career. So that all plays into it
oh yeah.
also. Um, so I think most of the time, the brands we create show the person that we work for,
You
except
know
maybe
it
the Viagra guy.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because when I'm working with students, uh, what I'm trying to help them discover often is who they really are as a voice actor. We come into
Mhm.
this business very often and we're listening to our voiceover heroes and then we try to imitate them. And which isn't necessarily a horrible thing. Just like a musician, you can learn to play that musician's licks, but at some point you have to make them your own. Um,
Yes,
well, you don't have a Don LaFontaine anymore, but
I
so many
know.
people came in wanting to be a Don LaFontaine, and I think some people actually destroyed their voices trying to be a Don LaFontaine when they were something else. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what your voice sounds like. It matters how the world perceives you. Might not even
Mhm.
be how you perceive yourself, but how the world
Yes.
perceives you. I think that is what becomes your brand.
Yes. So
So,
that's that third that you have to keep your buyer in mind. And so many people don't do it because without them, your brand falls flat. So it's the same thing you're saying to your students.
oh yeah, yeah. What are some of the branding mistakes that voice actors make?
I would say the biggest mistake is, oh, there's a few. Building your business without a brand and going all in on a website and business cards and this and that without a brand. And then you end up with this vanilla, beige wall, I call it, of a website where it doesn't say anything about you. So you lose this opportunity to have something working for you when you're not working. So not doing a brand and then spending all this money promoting yourself, I think is a mistake. And then another one, and this one scares everybody, is including myself when I do my own brand. You can't be everything to everybody. So you look at celebrities, you look at popular voice talent, CEOs that are now celebrities, they all stand true to what they believe in, and a portion of the world doesn't buy in. And that's a strong brand. If your brand is in the middle, you're going to be number two at best. You're never going to win. So you've got to take a stand
So you got to
and
go ahead
be
and
bold.
become that person that some people are going to like and a lot of people aren't going to like.
Right. That's the hallmark of any of the top
And
talent.
I think so many people and I'd have to put myself in the same boat. We all want to be liked by people.
Yes.
We don't want people to think negatively of us, not like us, and yet sometimes the thing that somebody doesn't like about you is the fact that you're likable.
Yes.
So you got to lean in to who you are. I often tell my students. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a class right now, finding your signature voice that I'm going to be doing next year with some people, and so much of it is about who you think you are, who the world thinks you are, how people react to you,
Mm-hmm.
and what their response is just to your being. Are you somebody that
Mm-hmm.
they laugh at? Are you somebody that they're afraid of? Are you somebody that they intrinsically trust? Are you somebody that they just find sexy? What is it about you? What do people feel when you're in their presence and talking to them? And
Yes.
I think about the number of character actors out there that we see them in a movie, in a television show, and they always seem to be playing themselves. But there's this thing that they all have that's very individual to them, uh,
Hmm.
and and we respond to it emotionally in some way.
Yes, I love it. I
Those
love
are
it. So you're teaching branding voiceover for
well,
sure.
not so much. I wouldn't call it branding. It's finding out who you are, what your voice is,
Mhm.
what uh, how you are perceived, and allowing you, helping you lean into that. Because a lot of times, I think people they want to do the business, but they want to be something other than how the world sees them.
Mhm.
I thought when I came to town I was going to be a trailer guy. Oh yeah, I'm following Don LaFontaine's footsteps, and I have done and still do some trailers, but I could never call myself. I am one of the main trailer guys. And yet I've had a really good career and continue to. Um, and partially because I guess I stopped knocking my head against the wall with that.
Mhm. Gonna go with the flow.
So branding and websites. What are some of the do's and don'ts of putting a website together for a voice actor? Now you mentioned the mistake of throwing it out there before you know who you are.
Yes. So your website is the center of your business. So you're going to get up in the morning and go to work, and there's your website. You're going to be operating from that. Um, so it's also where people find you, potentially. It's one of the ways people find you. So the biggest mistake is I can't find your demos.
Mm,
That's really frustrating. People send me their website and check it out, and I'm like, where is the demo? So I think that message is out there in the community loud and clear enough that I see that less and less.
yeah.
So either put your demos just on the homepage, big button, that's what it's all about, or just a little scroll down. Um, it's got to be simple. It should be on trend. It should be lovely. We're advertising to advertisers. There's a real opportunity to be witty, have good visuals, good design. Um, Use the SEO tools out there so that people can find you.
For those of
Um,
us who don't know, what are SEO tools? I don't know.
yeah, search engine optimization. So, there's all different ways to make money in this business, and you marketing yourself and marketing your website is one very strong way to do it. So make sure that you've got your keywords. Make sure that Google can read the fonts that you use. Don't use decorative fonts. Um, have a blog, use those keywords, reinforce the keywords. So I would say those would be the minimum tools.
Well, how about
Um,
you mentioned have a blog. Somebody that's just starting out, they don't have a lot of experience. What is their blog going to be about?
Great question. Um, People like to do work with and get to know and be friends with people who are curious and passionate about something. So even if you aren't just listing all the games you're booking, or your big jobs or stories from celebrities in the booth, um, pick what you're interested in, and attract your tribe that way. So if you're really passionate about horse rescue or um, cooking or a certain kind of philanthropy or causes, you can blog about those things and connect with people who are interested in that, and then layer in your interest in voiceover and your passion for that. But if you have something that is so uniquely you, you can blog about it.
It sounds to me like the kind of website, the kind of interaction with the internet that you're talking about is beyond. I am a voice actor. Here are my demos. Here's where you can hire me. These are my rates and so forth. This is a portal to you as a human being.
Yes.
which
It's your
it,
personal brand.
yeah, I can't say that that is what my website is. And when you said, oh, you log on and you are working through your website, I visit my website once or twice a day to do a couple things, but it's not my platform to launch things from.
Right.
This is very different for me. Um,
Hmm.
so if when you're not on your website, what would be the website you would go to next?
To market yourself?
Yeah, and to find clients. Well, I'm giving you a leading question because I noticed you're very, very active on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I that yes, LinkedIn I think is a no-brainer. So if you have all the business that you want out
Speaking of
there,
business. Do you have to take that?
somebody needs a brand. Um, yeah, LinkedIn is pretty magical. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you can talk to anybody. So when you get your brand story, your demos, I consider all of that your brand. Um, you can decide who you want to talk to, which is a third of your brand, and reach out to people. You can express your opinions. You can be a thought leader. Um, it is a fabulous way. And it's not, I've had people contact me, um, hi, can you introduce me to, Bo at CESD? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. So you don't want to jump in and ask for a big favor, but people need to know your name. People need to know, at least be familiar with your name. The more that happens, the more likely it is they're going to trust to buy you. So admire other people, see what other people are saying, and share your thoughts. Definitely. I'm a big fan of Tracy Lindley's LinkedIn class. I know there's classes on LinkedIn about LinkedIn, and it really comes down to reach out to a few people a day. Just connect. Start in your backyard, at your university that you went to, in the town you live in. Just if you reach out to 5 people a day, eventually something's going to build.
It's interesting. I've had students ask me, well, how do I, if I'm not in the union, if I don't have, if all I've got now is a website and a demo, what do I do with that? How do I find clients? And I said, well, I would go to LinkedIn and I would search on LinkedIn if we're talking video game developers, video game casting, write people who write scripts for video games, but don't find them all. But don't just friend, or connect. It's friend on Facebook, connect on LinkedIn. Take 5 or 10, find out something about them. Find out about
Mm-hmm.
the games that they have worked on. And don't just, hi, I'm a voice actor, and if you need somebody, give me a holler. Uh, Hi, I know something about them. Pat them on the
Yes.
back a little bit. Maybe even enlist them. Sometimes people are willing to help you with something, not give you money or give you a job, but offer advice.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can get somebody to help. People do it to me. I'm happy to help somebody that's asking me good questions, not ones that they can easily answer on the internet, uh, but really good questions. I'm very likely to help that person and steer them hither and yon. Uh, let's go to get some questions here. Let's say TJ Miller. I actually went backwards. I created a brand marketing company that does VOs for my clients, create a YouTube ad for them. Then I do a text messaging campaign that sends their customers to that YouTube link. Guess what they hear? Guess what? They hear my voice and it's all on social media. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Lanny Manella, how are you? How do you get past the tendency of clients like Pixar or Disney using celebrities instead of non-celeb voice actors? Have you ever successfully contacted those producers to convince them to try someone without marquee value? Oh, that's a good question.
Yes. Like I said early in our time together tonight, I love to work with talent about what do you want? And from the premise of you can have anything you want. With that energy, I have worked with two people who have, as non celebrities, had it in their early goals and, years later, gotten booked with two really cool gigs on Pixar.
Ah,
Actually, I know three people. So it does happen. You need to be excellent. It helps to have, an agent or a manager that knows somebody that can very appropriately present you, not just once, but it's
over
constant,
and over and
over
over.
and over. You
Sales
guys all quit too early. You quit too early. Um,
Salespeople will tell you it's 5 touches, 5 contacts
yeah,
before something good happens. And all too often, whether it's trying to get an agent or contact a client, uh, we hear one no or don't hear back right away. And
yeah,
like you say, uh, we give up.
yeah.
I would
Love it.
also say that, well, one, Disney and Pixar, they are hiring people through talent agents.
Mhm.
Um, so, you have to be there. And I've been in a number of Pixar and Disney movies and whatnot, not in the starring roles, but significant roles. And, the money still spends. But that's because I'm been around for a while. I have a good agent. I auditioned well. And if it weren't for those celebrities making those big Pixar movies and Disney movies, those movies wouldn't get made. Part of the reason
Mhm.
they're being made is because we are a celebrity driven society. And people will go see these movies with celebrities in them. And then those of us who are journeyman voiceover people uh, get to have parts in those movies. It might not be huge parts, but parts nonetheless.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, a little praise for you, Jensen Ogilvy. Ogilvy. Celia made me realize that my brand was going to help me find my people. Okay. I'm not quite sure exactly what that was going to mean. Could someone let me know the name of Celia's book? Yes, let's talk about that. What's the name of your book?
It's called VoiceOver Achiever: Brand Your VoiceOver Career, Change Your Life.
That's
And
a long
it's
title. Say that one again.
VoiceOver Achiever. And then the sub tag is Brand Your VoiceOver Career, Change Your Life.
And what are some of the chapter titles?
Um,
If we were looking at the contents page, what was some
the
of those
table of
chapters?
contents. Um, oh gosh, I don't remember the name of my title. It's right over there. But, I talk about you are a brand, the brand is already within you. And then I go through my methodology, 12 steps of how to create your brand. And my team and I really tried to describe what we do when we brand somebody. I really do want to help. Um, uh, that's the whole purpose of it. And so if you do all of the work, it really does help you kind of figure that out. Um, so yeah, that's
Well,
that's it. I show examples and stories about people branding.
tell me one good story about someone that was difficult to brand that you helped them find their brand.
Yeah. The most difficult people to brand are the ones who are the most perfectionistic, um, because it's hard to be vulnerable, but unless you can show some vulnerability, you're not very interesting. So I have a part in the book about a woman who I did her brand, and we used kind of a mnemonic device with her name. Um, and she really wanted to show up a certain way. and her brand was basically tailored to perfection with her last name Taylor. And she came up to me at a conference and she was like, "Everybody loves their brands with you so much. I don't love mine." And I was like, "Well, by all means, let's get that right." And I worked with her and I said, "You've got to be vulnerable." And we created Neighbor Lady VO. And the gist of it was when you want to borrow a cup of sugar or have your hurt, soothed over, like that person we want to live next door to us, so that's hospital VO, certain corporate stuff, that kind side.
And
And at
that
first she was like, "I love that, but it sounds too middle aged. I'm not going to do it."
was
And
she middle aged?
I was like, "Well, you and I were born the same year." So she did it and she felt very empowered by it and at home taking that risk. And it was attractive to the people that hire her.
Well, I think sometimes we don't want to embrace who we actually are because we have another vision of ourselves.
Hmm.
That person that we fantasize ourselves to be, but we're not, and that vulnerability, I understand. And with guys, I get guys that they want to get down deeper in their voice, and when their actual voice is where mine is or higher, but they want to be down here because the vision
Hmm.
that they have of what voiceover is and who they should be in it is a deep voice guy. Working with people coming out of radio, uh, it's not so much sometimes that they can't not do that thing. They don't want to not do that thing because it's part of their identity. And
Hmm.
breaking that down with people sometimes is very difficult. Now we're not talking about branding when I'm saying that, but it would be the thing that would lead them to not only reads that could book, but a brand.
Hmm.
Let's
It's
see.
true. It's hard. Oh, Michael.
Let's see, Michael Glover. I thought that once I got my brand and website, I was on my own. I have people that I truly want to sell myself to and mentioned that to Celia. And to my surprise, Celia said, "We can help you with that." Wow, I did not expect that. I have a lot of plans and I'm really excited about the ride I'm taking with CSM. We're just getting started, Celia. Well,
Yay, Michael.
nice little pat on the back. Ah, Ellen Dubin. You can't be everything to everybody. So true, so true. And that's a tricky one for versatile actors who do a lot of things. But that is a brilliant take on it. Have to be bold. Yes, that is the hallmark of the top talent. Thanks for reminding us of that. And I kind of agree. Sometimes I think I'm not sure of exactly what my brand is because I do a lot of different things. I play a lot of different
Mhm.
characters. I have made a lot of money on the hard sell, the DJ style read and TV promos or understated narration or various characters in cartoons and video games. And sometimes I've had that thought, I just need to be me. Who's that again?
Mhm.
How do you deal with that with voice actors who are doing a lot of different kinds of uh, voices and genres of voiceover?
That's a great question. Um, because it's a personal brand, essentially. So it is you as the human, and then there's you as the product, which is your voice
Hmm.
and what you do for work. So I always start with you as the human. So that needs to go in there. And so, Dave, when I think of your brand, to have an iconic visual catch, I mean, your hair, just that is part of your brand. Um, how kind and helping you are, that you've been in the industry, so you do have sort of celebrity status in voiceover. So, kind of the more you do, the more your brand is just Oprah, right?
And you get a microphone, and you get a microphone, and you get a
Yes.
microphone.
but just, so Oprah is her brand, so you want to be so known and connected in your own world, but we still know that she's a, chit chatter, and she's caring and has empathy, and all of those traits of her as a human go into her as a business, and same with you, same with any of us who, get to be known in our careers. Um, so if you do a lot of different things, you still need to show me an essence of who you are. So it couldn't just be anybody's brand. You lose an opportunity if you're just the guy next door. You
Although
could be
they're
the guy
asking for
next
the guy
door,
next door a lot.
right? But there's tens of thousands of you.
Yes.
So if you're going to be the guy next door, be like we did Mike Cooper's brand, the guy next door, only better and British.
Ha ha! I like that.
So we got a little humor in there. We got a little drill down that he's a specialty. So when your brand is that you're a Jack or Jackie of all trades, it's a little more difficult. But tell me the DNA of all of those different things you're good at. Get creative, and maybe you're the only, opera singer, PhD, animation, documentary person. So how do you say that in a witty way, so that I'm intrigued, glued to what you have to say,
Wow.
in your brand?
Wow, wow, wow. That's interesting. That's interesting. While we ponder that, I have another comment. Oh, Jimmy Bancule. You know what Celia told me last week when I spoke to her? She said my voice is a specialty voice. Wow, she made it so simple. It was just an epiphany. And Jimmy, I didn't say it quite that way, but we've talked a few times about your accent, and that there was a time I would have said, oh, no, you really need to get over that accent and be able to do this other thing. But when you listen to the landscape of voiceover nowadays on radio, on television, you hear voices from everywhere. So market yourself hard as you are, as who you are. Let's see. Let's just pop in and pre-read this. And Joanne Pitts, as a new VO talent, what are you required to have in place before working with your agency?
Okay, so as far as doing the brand goes, I have an honest discussion with people to see if they're ready, being a believer that that should happen early in your career, not too early before you really know what demos that you're making, or, have your demos that you're good at, know your genres. I will brand anybody who's a good fit with the way we do it. As far as ongoing management, I manage people who are at a certain point in their career, that we really feel like we can get you more work. And I do a free 15-minute consultation. I love meeting you guys. So you can just email us and we'll give you a link and do a brand audit, see what you've got going on, and see if we're a good fit for you.
A brand audit.
Audit.
What happens in a brand audit?
Yeah, you can get on my schedule, Dave, and we could do a brand audit of yours. I went to your website right before the meeting.
You've got some suggestions for me?
Oh yeah, I always have suggestions.
So now, just what would some of the questions be in a brand audit? Are they different for different people, or depending on where they are in their career?
Well, I like to do it in real time, so I don't study it too far in advance. And it's, what do I see when I look at your website or listen to your demos? What signal are you sending out into the world? And then I talk to people about where they want to be. And if there's a big disconnect between what you're putting out there and where you want to go, then we make suggestions of different ideas about your brand. So yeah, I love doing that. So,
and there's so many unique voices and people out there. I mean, you could go on forever. Let's see, one of my favorite people, Debbie Harada.
Debbie.
Celia, you say you want to talk to, or who you want to talk to, or those you want to buy. You are 1/3 of the talent's brand. Who? What are the other 2/3? That's a very good question. I when you said that, I said, oh, so 1/3 of the work I get is coming because of my brand, and the rest is something else.
Good question, Debbie. I love your brand. So Debbie's a great example. So Debbie is out there, and um, I saw Debbie at the Sovas Awards, and she won a bunch of awards. And I was like, who's this woman?
She's
So she
amazing talent. She's amazing talent.
enough out there. She's so great and just puts these clues off into the world where I was like, she's a good person. I want to know her. We did finally meet and get to do some stuff together. So, okay. So the 1/3 is why you get the script. So, you're this age group, this vocal type, your big kind of macro where you belong. You have to signal to that in your brand. And then why you're 100% unique, which is my favorite part to figure out. How can I recognize Dave Fennoy over anybody else on the planet? Like, how do we show an essence of that? And then where does that overlap with the person who's going to hire you? So those are my 3 places I kind of play around with and do a lot of work and put a lot of information into the funnel. And when we pull it out, we get your big genre categories, your unique DNA, and then who are we selling you to? Who cares? Who needs you?
Yeah. Interesting. Boy.
Yeah.
Evan Richards, hi there. One of my agents in VoiceOver is now my talent manager here in LA, in VO. My question is, should I always update with my manager when anything happens?
It depends. Not anything.
Yes, not necessarily when you go to the bathroom. What you had for breakfast, no. But I think, and I'm probably guilty of this, because part of my nature is to keep things to myself. So I don't always, and nowadays we're living in the world of, you have an agent in London, you have an agent here, you have an agent there, you have an agent. And I don't always, I just booked this thing with my agent over here. I don't always keep up with them with that. Now, I do keep up with, I got the same audition from my San Francisco agent, but I'm going to do it with you and let them know that blah, 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 whatever that is. Should we be sharing all the work we do with each of our agents?
It depends on your relationship with your agent or your manager. So that's something that, the deeper your relationship is with your handlers, the more that behooves you. And everybody has different styles. I know so many of the agents out there, agents are usually very social, very interested. They want to help you. They're there for you. So I would figure that out early in the relationship. How much do they want to know? And then if it's relevant, yeah, you should be sharing it. I know for me, I want to know everything. Like if somebody does something cool, if they hit 1 million TikTok followers, I want to know that.
Okay, now I got to do TikTok too?
Yes. I mean, maybe, not everybody has to do TikTok. I mean, if you're young, yes, you have to do TikTok, or, it's a good vehicle. But if it is relevant, share it. Do the gut test. If it's not relevant, they're busy people, and you want them.
The things I'll mention are what I consider bigger jobs. Oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this animated movie. I'm doing this national, whatever it is. I will let the agents know, and because I always feel like that's an opportunity for them to sell me to other people that they are coming into contact with. But so many of us, you have some big clients, and then you have some smaller things that maybe, it all helps to make up a career. But maybe that's not the thing you want to. Oh yeah, and by the way, I did this $350 job for
Yeah.
this little place in East
Yeah,
Texas.
they don't care about
They don't
that.
care about that. Yeah, yeah.
Unless it's a conflict. You do need to let all your people know if you do something on television that's a conflict. They do want to know that.
I just had
Um,
that, and I only mentioned this because you mentioned it, and it just happened to me. I've got some McDonald's spots that have been running for a few months, and an Arby's commercial came through,
ooh.
and
Oh.
and along with the commercial, along with the audition came. Oh, by the way, uh, I haven't been able to check everybody, but if you think you have a conflict with this, let me know. And I thought, well, I just did that last McDonald's spot 2 weeks ago. I think I probably have a conflict with this. And I let her know. And it was, yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Which, on one hand, you would think she would have known because she's the one that booked me. But, the your agent has lots of clients. They're booking lots of
Yeah.
things. So they're not going to remember everything. So
Yes.
so I don't get to say we've got the meats. Oh, I did. I just
Bummer,
said
you'd be
it.
good at that. I love that campaign. It
Oh,
was
that's a
awesome.
great campaign. And very different when it came out than anything we'd seen in a while.
Totally. It was just arresting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Young man, Jeffrey Oliver, what are some small things you can do every day to help your career?
There are many. Um, so I like to do a business plan with everybody I work with. And there's a section in there that is list all of the things you can do to connect or help your career. So I would suggest to everybody, make a list. There are so many things you can do to get in front of people. And if you hate doing something, if that's not your medium, if you don't like Twitter, if you don't like LinkedIn, no problem. So certainly reading out loud every day, being a lifelong learner, continuing to study with great coaches, um, linking up with 5 people on LinkedIn, admiring people's work online, studying our business, studying advertising. Um, so I would say your talent, growing your talent, and connecting with other humans are the two most important things. And then just pick your poison, how you want to do that.
I would have to concur, and people are always your best vehicle to success. You can
Mm-hmm.
think about this agency, you can think about this company, but it's the people inside and your connections with those people that are going to make a difference. Agents go from this agency to that agency. Sometimes they start their own management agency. Uh, so you want to know people, you want a good reputation with people, you want to be good at what you do, and you want to be somebody that people want to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really been the guy that's I want to find out what your kids' names are because so I can send them birthday cards so you'll like me. But I do want to show up as somebody that's helpful, caring, and not going to be a problem on the gig. Um, and sometimes it's just that somebody that shows up, does the job, has a smile, and gets out of the way when it's time to get out of the way. Let's see. I've got a question here. Hey, Dave. Hey, Celia. When looking for a voiceover coach to work with in animation and video game world, what would you suggest for somebody who lives in the Midwest?
Well, Jason, the beauty of the world is you can work with anybody anywhere, like Dave Fennoy. Um, Pick who feels comfortable and who you admire. There's plenty on the internet to research people, and you can work with anybody in the world.
Yeah.
So I would say there's a lot of great people out there, and just I mean, now even if you wanted to work in person in the Midwest, you would be SOL. Um,
Yeah.
COVID
Yeah.
has
COVID has shut it down.
COVID has accelerated so many things. So we're like 20 years down the road in 1 year, as far as video conferencing and really connecting. I do think this is the time to connect with people all over. So yes, research and reach out.
Yeah. And I think you're going to find that the majority of great, especially animation coaches, are not going to be in the Midwest. I'm not
Mm-mm.
knocking the Midwest, but they're going to be mostly on the West Coast. Most of the cartoons and animation that are done on the West Coast. There's a few Funimation in Dallas is okay, but you're going to find most of the people you want to work with out here. And as Celia just said, the fact that you're here on my Facebook page watching this from the Midwest, I'm assuming, lets you know that's what you got to do. Let's see. Let's see. I just meant that my Tribe Dream
Yes.
clients are looking for me, and my brand is what's going to help me get there. There you go.
Yes, Jensen. Yes, I should have gone in and saved you on that one. Yes, we worked together and hit some epiphanies there. And I've been seeing you and your brand all over
Now,
Insta.
what's Jensen's brand?
Oh, putting me on the spot. Hold
Oops.
on. Um,
Well, you know what, Jensen, you can. I'll look for you down. Just tell me what your brand is.
yeah, do the tagline.
Yeah, do the tagline. See, and I know what happens with you there. You work with so many people, and you recognize, oh, that's Jensen. But oh, what did we do exactly? Because a lot of people. Oh, let's see. Walter Williams, great Neumann T-shirt day. Oh yeah, the Neumann T-shirt. Ha ha.
Woo!
And I've been talking into my Neumann TLM 49 all morning. VO Life. Yeah, absolutely. Mason Guttery. Or is it Gootery? I answered an ad from a talent agency looking for extras for Spider Man 3. Turned out to be more of a bait and switch. $99 to sign on for the year plus a monthly fee. Help putting together headshots, comp cards, etc. Is this typical recruitment for a talent agency? I'll let you.
And no, any legitimate talent agency out there, makes money when they book you,
Yeah.
and you apply to them.
Yeah. This is scam, scam, scam. If they
Yeah,
want
don't.
any money from you, if they want to hire the photographer and you pay them to get your headshots, walk away. No, don't walk, run. Um, there have been a lot of agent jokes over the years. And I think the fact of the pay to play sites and what's been happening with the driving down our wages in the voiceover business is a testament to how good our agents actually are, how good we have it when we are represented by somebody who's trying to get us more money as opposed to somebody like the pay to play sites that are selling our talent as cheaply as they can uh,
Hmm.
and and robbing us often. A lot
Yes.
of times we don't know what that client is actually paying. We know what we bid, and you might bid $1,000. Oh, I'm getting $1,000 for this, minus the 20% I had to pay them, minus the yearly fee I had to pay them, and the job was $10,000, and they have pocketed that when it should have been yours. But how do I really feel? Oh, let's see. I'm looking for another good question. Well, let's go back to Miss Dubin. You as a human, okay. Love that, especially for us that do a bunch of different things. Great take on that, Celia. Makes great sense. Essence, got it. And I think that's true. And I think a lot of us, Ellen is a great example of that. Um, of somebody who does a lot of different voices in cartoons and video games, as well as commercials and other things. And sometimes it's hard to, well, who am I? I do so many things. Who am I really? And when you get something that says, oh, just be a person talking to you. I actually have
Hmm.
learned how to do that, but it did not come easy. Fortunately, I was pretty good at doing some other things before really figuring out, oh, I guess that's who I am. All right. I'm looking for another good question. Jen Salix. I've been doing corporate VO video and training projects for about 10 years, but I don't know how to break over to entertainment. Any suggestions?
Um, are you studying your craft? So a lot of times people do a lot of corporate stuff and want to do other things that require more improv, more acting. So a lot of the work out there, they're looking for actors, they're looking for depth, they're looking for somebody who can really connect with the copy. So it's about studying and coaching and then getting to that point um, before you can really compete in that area. And if you are coached and good at that, then it's a marketing game.
So often, people who may do just TV promos, may do just corporate narration, haven't learned to act. You can develop a read that is pleasant and works in a lot of different areas and be booked and keep working. But if you're trying to get into some other areas, you really have to develop some other sensitivity, some other talent, some other empathy for the human condition so that you can play a variety of parts that the people have a different worldview.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my buddy Luc de Villars. Question every time and I do mean every time I get a part on a voice project with an American team. As a European French voice actor, I am always the bad guy, the goofy dude, or the annoying guy complaining a lot, while my demos are different from one another. That sound signature in a voice, can it also be a bit of a curse? And how to use it wisely for the benefit of our career? That's a very good question because sometimes you are typecast in acting as the heavy or the bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that if you're getting cast over and over and over again as the bad guy, great. Like sometimes you just got to say, I have tons of people, actors, I've worked with actors, for decades now, and they're like, oh, I always get booked on the tagline. And I'm like, that's the one that makes all the money, or
I am a tag voice on a major car manufacturer. Have been for about 15 years.
ooh,
Every month, and it's the greatest gig in the world. It's the greatest. It's get your ego out of it.
yes. So yes, take advantage of it. Sometimes being stereotyped and typecast, if that keeps you booked, that's great. So that's a good thing. But then of course, as an actor, you want to have more opportunities. So I'd be interested in seeing your website and listening to your demos, and seeing where you're getting your auditions from. You want to broaden all of those things through your efforts, and then maybe try to hit some home runs in other areas. I
Luke
wish
is
I could have said that en français.
en
I was
français, oui.
tempted.
Certainement. C'est dommage, mademoiselle. Luke lives in France and great guy. Janet
Lucky.
Peters. I auditioned for PlayStation 5 today for a trailer, and they seemed to really like the read. Thing is, it never occurred to me I could do this kind of read. I followed the director's notes, and I whispered with a mediation excitement sort of style. Meditation, I think, is what you meant to say. I may have found another niche. Love what I'm hearing. Apologies for not asking a branding question. Oops. I didn't get the bottom of that. 30 seconds went by. But here I am listening intently. Oh, you, Celia, this is an amazing session. The idea of branding, the idea of sitting down with you and having you help a person discover their brand. I don't know of anybody else who is doing it quite that way, who is quite that focused on, well, let's find out who you are and who we can market you to. That is huge. And you know what? we are just about at the end, doggone it. This hour went by so
Oh,
fast. Let's see. Is there another good question to take us out on? Okay, not sure, I haven't pre-read it, but question for Celia: do you have advanced? You have advanced the careers of top VO talent for more than 2 decades. Who are your top 5 VO talents? Start name dropping. Oh boy.
that's awesome. I mean, I guess I started working with Joe Zija back when he had a full-time job on the East Coast. And we made a plan, and he is amazing and just stepped right into it. So he's kind of a golden child um, of name dropping. I worked with Bernadette Sullivan over 30 years, who's worked in all aspects of the business and recently landed a Pixar gig doing a short. Um, most of the people I work with are just every day in, day out people who get up to that nice chunky amount in their jobs will come to me. I just worked with a guy locally who was about to take a full-time job, and he's now back into the comfortable six-figure range. But it's more the day in, day out people. I mean, I've worked with so many of you over the last 30 years. And as an agent, I mean, I've worked with celebrities, I've worked with top dogs. Um, so yeah, there's my answer to that is I always and have dozens and hundreds of people who it's very important to me that you do better together with us. That's my passion, and that's why I do this is helping everybody meet their potential.
Well, fantastic. Well, I'm not going to keep you past 7. Well, it's 2 past 7, but I just want to say thank you. I think this has been fascinating, and we have been so many places teaching at the same time, but I've never had the opportunity to just sit down with you and find out what you do and why people love you so much. I have known for years that you're a powerhouse and have helped a lot of people. I just didn't know quite how. Uh, and now I'm sorry that when you had your session, I was doing another session. I couldn't have
I
popped over
know.
and I don't know when I'm going to be able to pop into a conference of yours, but I want to do it. I want to see what you do. And why don't you let people know how they can get in touch with you? I know you offered 15 minutes for free. You're going to have a bunch of 15 minutes coming up with some people.
Oh my gosh, no, it's always my pleasure. And I mean that. Sometimes it has to schedule a little ways out, but I'm happy to meet any of you and look at your brand. I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. I do a brand mingle every Friday morning as just a gift to the community. And we talk about brands and life and being happy and living, slugging through this time. So you can always pop in my brand mingle. And then I've got my website, which has all of my services, celiasiegel.com. So check it out. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from some of you.
Well, fantastic. I'm going to say goodbye and say thank you for joining me and offering up such great information. You've got my brain tingling here. What should I do
I'll be
next?
watching for you on my 15-minute brand audit consultation. I would love to get my hands on you and
Well,
your awesome celebrity brand.
all
So
right. Well, you know what? I'll do that. I'll do
I
that.
would love it.
Well, let me say goodbye to you, and then I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. And everyone, thank you. Please thank Celia Siegel. And you can do yourself a favor by getting in touch with her. I want to remind you that this video will live, of course, on Facebook, but you can find it on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy VoiceOver Training, along with all the other Ask Dave Fennoy's Anything, if you want to go back and find out, well, what was it that she said? Oh, yeah, I'll find it. So you can find it. And next week, we will not be doing Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. It will be the eve of Thanksgiving. And I feel like you will have better things to do preparing for however many in your family you can eat with. We're in a kind of crazy time uh, right now in the pandemic. But I won't be on next week. But the following, I think that's December 2nd, I will be back. And it may just be me. I may just sit down with you and just you and I uh, chewing it up and seeing what's going on with voiceover and your and my and everybody's voiceover career. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Despite what a crazy year this has been, we still have much to be thankful for. I find that we live better when we live in gratitude. I'm not saying don't recognize the things out there that are troublesome, but let's also remember to be grateful for the good things in our lives. And with that, I will say good night.
Thanks, Dave.